Well, good weekend all. Ira Epstein with your metal market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for a beautiful week. It really is. Weather in Chicago is phenomenal. This is Friday the 14th, 2023, another 80-degree day in Chicago. I mean, I pinched myself today at the convertible top. I went out this afternoon, enjoyed the weather. It was just simply gorgeous. Now they're saying it may snow on Monday. I'm laughing at it. It's funny. We shouldn't be this warm a whole week. We can get up into the 70s and 80s, but you normally are average temperature in the 50s. And we'll be back there next week. But we're breaking through, and that tells me something. I'm nervous for grain markets. We still have a lot of areas that are very drought-stricken. The weather's nuts. You saw 2 feet of water fall in Fort Lauderdale. I owned in Miami, and I remember when we would get squalls. I never saw 2 feet come down. I've seen 8 to 10 inches, and the streets there could not handle it. I mean, I'd go out into the street, honest, and I'm not exaggerating. The water could be up to your knees in the middle of the street. The sewer system just couldn't handle it. Remember, it's on the beach itself, everything's man-made. It's not natural ground. It's very, very different, and they have a serious issue. They've spent a fortune trying to beat this back, and we'll see if they're ever successful. But as the ocean rises, as the weather changes, owning oceanfront property is a gamble. You know that. I'm simply waiting where my palm trees will grow in my backyard in Chicago, and I'll sell you some property then. Okay, so in looking at the market, this weekend was about, first today, as you know, a lot of data on the banks, but then we had CPI data. I'm sorry, to me the CPI is sticky. I don't agree with so many of the analysts I see out there. Headline CPI is notorious for moving all over the board. Core CPI that strips out the volatile components is a whole different world. And 5.6% core CPI is a number, and by the way, it ticked up a little, not down. That's a number the Fed's going to have real problems with. How do they get it down? So as much as everybody's worried about the banking system, and I go back to the banks, the big boys did phenomenal. Did you see how much money they took in, what they're earning? I'm not convinced their performance was so good. The more I dug into those numbers, it's a great thing that JP Morgan got all those billions that came in and it's earning interest on it. Strip that away, and I'm not convinced they did that good of a job. But you can't strip it away because they got that money, and that's what happened. So the reality is they're in good shape. They're also too big to fail, along with the other Wells Fargo, the banks that all came out today. They're big boys. But now we're going to start getting to your smaller regionals, and that's really where the attention's going to turn. So if you think today was bank report, you are so wrong. Today was something wrong with the big boys, and there isn't. Where you start turning over the stones is what's going to be coming out this quarter on the other banks. Just a word of wisdom to you. Each day this week, we've been talking, and I've been saying, I think that you have a crowded trade in the gold. Every single analyst that I see on TV is telling buy, buy, buy. And to me, that's crowded. Out of nowhere today, this bounced. You went down at one point, $48 an ounce, okay? And still closed 40 lower. Silver's powerful. Why? You couldn't even break $1 with that, all right? That's good action in this. So I like what I'm seeing. I like the metals, period. I think they're still acting very good. I think they're smart move on the inflation still, but we'll look at the charts. What I think doesn't matter. The charts do. Dollar got too low this week, down pushing the 100 level. It's time for a bounce. Okay, so you've come off the lows, about 70, 80 points. Let's find out what that all means. And by the way, do me a favor. If you like these, please give me that thumbs up. One of the things that you'll see at the end of this that I keep telling you to learn, you don't have to, is how to work with Bollinger Bands and momentum. I think it's one of the greatest tools out there. I have my take on it. Other people have theirs. If you want to learn my take at any point, you can just move your cursor up here. It'll take you there at the end of this. There'll be an ad, and then just click on it, and you'll be able to get up there. Again, the cursor will be up there for you. Okay, so in the gold market, you can't argue. This is the highest high close we've had, period, on a monthly basis. Now, the month's not over, but that's where you're at right now. You're into this area that, do you remember when I drew this line? This has got to be, if you go there on YouTube and you look, it's probably a month old. And I've just left it be here because that's what I thought the market was going to do. I thought the market would get up to the old highs and fight on a closing basis. Well, you're at 202. The high was approximately the 210 area right here. You're in that ballpark. Looking at the momentum of the market, the swing line is bullish. Higher lows, higher highs. You're well over the 18-week average. To get back to that for support, you would break the uptrend. If you get underneath now, 1945, that breaks the uptrend. So that's not the best thing you can do. But in reality, a lot of good things happen. You had a bullish crossover. The 18-week got over the 100-week right here and shot to new highs, new all-time highs. Come on. That's classic theory of crossovers on moving averages. What is potentially then the resistance? Well, we come here, we do that, and here it is. Oh my gosh. Look at the Bollinger Band. I'm, of course, being facetious, but this is what I expected. You can run a band, but staying over it and paying over it is just something I teach you don't do. Because 95% of the time, the market will come back inside the band. So you get these areas where you get under it for these brief periods. You pay through the nose. The guys that were buying here, when they pull the plug, it happens so fast, just like you saw today. So the guys that were buying the Bollinger Band got themselves caught. You're under that band right now by $34 roughly. That's a lot. That's not a little bit. You may not think it's a lot. How many times do you risk $3,000 in the futures market per contract? When I take a look here at momentum, overbought. I have my own way of discussing overbought, and I teach it in my courses. So I see an overbought market at the upper resistance in an uptrend. Make no doubt, I am bullish the gold market. But on my terms, which is chart terms, and this chart term isn't there for me right now. The better spot, I want to come back. Do you remember when I did my gold report and I was saying 1815, 1810? How many of you watching me right here looked at that report and I had pointed out to you, I said, this is where I think that market will find its support, and from there is when I look the market to make its move. And it did very much what that report said. My reports are up 3 days. The idea is you rush to them, you look at them. They're not meant to trade that day. They're giving you setups as to what I think is going to develop in the very near term. Otherwise, they're just for that day. That's not it. Bingo. In the gold-silver ratio, look at how this has come back. From 91.64, it's come down 13 points, which means up here, you needed 91.64 ounces of silver loaded into that cart that you went to your Kroger, your Jewel, your Publix. You stole that darn cart. You're a thief. You loaded in all your silver, and a guy down the street smoking a cigar, the friendliest gold silver shop, is saying, you know, I'm not even going to charge you a commission. I'm just going to trade it off the board, whatever the markets are doing. At one point, you had to give them 91.64 ounces to get an ounce of silver. Today, 78.64. Silver gained against gold. When you look at what silver's done, it's hard. You've gone from an upper Bollinger Band and resistance at the 100-week average, down through the 200-week to the lower band, back to the upper band and overbought. This has been one of these joy rides, very difficult on a weekly chart. The daily chart allowed my clientele to see ways in. Simple fact is, my subscribers in my morning videos, they know what we did, all right? It's that simple. Do we lose at times? Count on it, okay? I am Mr. Swiss cheese, okay? So if you think that I sit here and everything I tell you is going to work out that way, nonsense. The name of the game is where you're wrong. The name of the game is the type of trade that you're setting up. Is it a momentum trade? You got to give them more risk. Is it a standard trade? I don't want to risk more than $600. Which way are you going to play it? If you can't handle the momentum, you don't take them. But they happen to be one of the higher probability trades. All right, in the copper, bullish. Higher lows. You've had the higher highs. The dailies aren't as friendly as the weeklies. So I think the pros are nibbling here, 402.60. I think they're pitching at 413.55, the 100 week, and I think you're caught in that until you break out of that ratio. Momentum is pointing slightly down, not up at this point. Bias up, trend up, momentum drifting. In the platinum market, bullish. Higher lows, higher highs. So until this market comes back under 947.10, right under that low, the support's right here, the combination, 989.60 to 190. You've got under its support at the 200 week at 968.30, opening the door to come back and challenge that upper area. In the dollar index, you know, I just did last week my dollar report. And if you saw the report, you know I'm bearish. And you can see what it's done. The market has come down. I don't even think the entry points have been hit yet. I think this is where the professional money is starting to come out of this trade. They're waiting on the bounce, which you got today. You had a bounce in the market finally. This is a weekly chart, but the daily you had a nice bounce. And I'm looking for ways in. First of all, you're oversold there. So I got to go to the daily chart and see, is it embedded, not embedded, where is it? But we cover that at that point in time. So you put this all together, you try to come up with ideas, and that's the name of the game. You can see how much you were down with it. All right. So as you heard me say, at any point you can click up here. It'll take you to all the facts about the Bollinger Band course. You can watch the ad coming up right now. It too will tell you. And during it, you can always run and click the top. It'll take you right there and away you go. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. I am. And I will see you all come Monday morning. Take care. Welcome. I'm Ira Epstein, and I'm here to talk about my enhanced Bollinger Band course. Now, many of you have taken my regular charting course, and if not, you might think you know something about Bollinger Bands. As you know, Bollinger Bands are an algorithm designed to keep the market trading within it 95% of the time, and on a chart, it will offer on the top part resistance, on the bottom support, and the idea is the market will travel within them. We know that sometimes it latches onto that band, goes up or goes down. Well, how do you play with that? Can you pyramid the positions off that type of thinking? Well, I've applied all three of these into 13 different videos that teach you my concept of it. And from that concept, you're able to work with weekly charts and or daily charts. The 13 videos, each about 7 minutes long. The idea here is not to put you in school forever, but to teach. Now, if you haven't tried my complete futures research, I throw that in as well. Whether you've tried this or not, I think it's worth taking a look at. I think you're going to learn something from there. That research, by the way, covers twice daily market updates for you and access to what I call window envelope numbers, which I think are very important when looking at these Bollinger Bands. The next part is a trial to our charting software so you can make your charts look the same way that mine do. It's that simple. Where do you go with it and how do you get all this? It's simple. You go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. If you go to the word education, everything you need is answered there. You can also call my staff. They'll be happy to help you get set up. I'm Ira Epstein on the road to your education.